We're going to do a bit of a time skip backwards in Disco Elysium for what I'm theorising to be the final part. Because obviously I slept in the bed and stuff happened before I fully explored the island. We're actually going to go through that whole 5-minute song sequence again, just so I can fully explore the island before continuing on with the game. I'll pick the same responses I picked as far as I can recall, all of that stuff. I just want to fully explore before progressing the game. Hopefully things go okay.
A skiff with a... Once you get in, have you made all the necessary... Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
That's all I've got. Get in and ride. Dream sequence won't progress the game, you can explore after. Oh, if that's the case, this is unskippable. Whoops, sorry. I can't actually pause this now. Stupid chat delay. It's a cool song though, so we'll just listen to it. Thank you though, Boy Nikachu. Oh, I need to move my webcam. Just realised. I'm not going to explore the outside of the island. I was just going to explore the inside of the sea fort before dreaming. Also, hey Nick, long time no see. No Sonic. Been on Twitch for a long time, thought I'd pop in and check out what you're up to. Well, Disco Elysium, as you can see. Thank you for making an exception for me. Oh, this game is gorgeous, babe. You're not wrong. If only it was slightly happier. But it's got big Russian literature energy, so... What is happiness? I did. Harry and Kim stopped. YouTube. Someone in chat asking if I chose to allow the church to be occupied by the rovers. Harry and Kim started dancing. Harry passed out because he overdid it. I also let Suna continue her work in there.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the side. Let's go.
Russia, where despair is a product. That is true. Yeah, I also let Suna continue her work, so everyone's in the church right now. Makeshift bridge, bombs are powerful enough to break the foundation. First, the chain trails off into the ocean.
The chain trails off into the ocean.
This is all stuff I did last time.
For bringing
so I'm just
as a defensive measure.
From enemies of the community.
Didn't come over here last time. These ties are falling apart. They're at least 50 years old. Can't go any further over there, so we're going to go up here. Lingering trace of mazout in the air. Some fuel is leaked out of the barrel. Black. Viscous. It sounds like your tyres. Babe, your tyres are fine. Attention, inflammable. Insert comments about inflammable and flammable meaning the same thing again. Be careful not to fall off. The cliff face looks steep. RSA's ICM, you see star little specs in it.
ICM?
Oh gosh.
This feels familiar somehow.
What's that?
Insulin density.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend. It's impossible.
Nice. It's going to be hard to say them.
Gone through that.
Carrying around all that weight on a busted crutch is making you pant.
Is it rebrand?
No one remembers the ICM.
No, I don't think so.
The connotation is less important.
White star.
No. An upside down star.
Crumbles about ancient card, babe. It's affordable, is what it is.
With its horns in the sky. The symbol of the commune.
Are those spec stars too?
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
So we have had some more light storm damage. So I will be checking my email regularly because I had to contact the roofer about the roofers about that. Storm damage. Owning a house is expensive, folks. Looks old. What's it still doing here?
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Freighter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
Let's check in the damage, don't mind me.
Wow, you work hard.
I do.
Oh, yes. You hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide.
What hard work do I do exactly?
Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride.
Yeah, I ride. A little.
A little. You make money. You got
Not
gills, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop and a sprinter and a money printer.
Guess I made some gills, sure.
Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack
Perhaps,
or
game.
shoot yourself in the mouth?
Probably not that one.
But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich?
No, actually, I'm not.
That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
Fucking taxes, man. The system is broken.
Boo-hoo. The system is broken. The establishment is keeping me down. That's not the fuck yeah attitude you're used to. What is this? Why are you so poor?
You two, my partner's pointed out that we only have Nerf guns, so I just look silly and end up in A&E if I shot myself in the mouth. I'm just imagining that conversation. So, patient, what did you do? Why are your tonsils bruised? What exactly did you do? Well, I shoved the barrel of a Nerf gun in my mouth and pulled the trigger. It tasted horrible. I don't know, why am I so poor?
Because of the taxes. G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy,
Hey, Harry.
sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gotham estate that is Revachol?
Thought there were no taxes.
You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax. This tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus, there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you here. The Gotham estate's a myth. In total, the coalition government is taking 98% of all your money.
Are you sure? Sounds like a pretty big number.
What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples?
I don't like any of these answers. As someone who firmly believes that if taxes are applied the right way, which obviously a lot of governments don't because conservatives have a thing about socialism and supporting the needy, taxes are a good thing. So that's me. I voluntarily pay tax. I don't actually earn enough to be charged compulsory tax, but I'm like, hey, yeah, take my money. I'll pay for people's education and healthcare and subsidized travel, and in the future, hey, maybe I'll get a pension out of it. That's my thing. Bleeding nipples are a kind of pain. How would deregulation help with that?
It's all about the tax issue, hustler. No other problem in the world is as pressing as top marginal tax rates. And don't you fucking forget it.
Obviously, the Panini has seen a gross amount of public tax money being funneled into private accounts through sheer capitalist opportunism. There we go. You recognise this little birch from the corner operated viewer. Oh wait, it's got the stairs to go on. I also don't think I had that thought pop up before, which was interesting. This one's an armament rest. 2 encounters were attached to a medium distance, large caliber. Sorry, I'm checking my email. It's like, hey, the stairs are broken. You know what, game? The stairs are broken. Let's also clear out all of these things. Ah, no. Do have 2 skill points though. Let's put one into perception. Why not? Keep one in reserve. So before I sleep, I'm going to do everything else first in this room. This great blast storm must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off it. Take that. Take that.
You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
What's on the other side?
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable.
How do we open this?
Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He looks at the door, and it's bigger brother than at the lock.
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
You're right, we opened the big one. Do you see controls anywhere?
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
Oh, that's the way in. Oops. Okay. Well, I know I have to put fuel into this, so...
An old cylinder. The lieutenant.
It's cold now. But someone...
Put
The
fuel.
lieutenant, there's a red... The recoil
Rogue.
start wakes the old generator up. The
Did
machine
all this last
sputters
time,
like
that's
a...
why
That
I'm
should do it.
skipping through it. But otherwise, leave.
downstairs, somewhere?
Tap on the
The
side.
tank is far from full, but
And leave. Okay. Clear that. Clear that. Grab that.
books and most are among.
Someone's made themselves a home.
And leave. Okay, let's see. Southeast would be what, down here? The hatch is jammed shut.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
Run your fingers across the keyboard.
The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
What is this then?
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here.
Could this open the blast door?
I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
I'm gonna turn it.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
Very dramatic, slow opening. Hopefully, there's no one here we didn't want to alert to our presence.
A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl.
After you.
What's there?
I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
Let's go. If I go that way, however, obviously while I'm standing next to this way outside. Let's do a manual save. Let's go outside. Oh, you can't unless you dream. Well, actually, there's a door here. Right. So how is everyone doing? I apologise I didn't stream on Tuesday. We had to go and pick Angel's car up after it was fixed. Worked out quite well actually because I updated OBS, which broke the Streamlabs plugin I've got for OBS. But that's been updated now. So firing slip, you can't see inside. It's been a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. Distant sound of cargo ships, signal horns echo on the water. And then yesterday was a writing day. I got all the writing done I needed. I wanted to do a bit more, but I decided not to push myself too hard because I know from experience if I do that, I'll burn out and not produce content either written or the next day streamed that I'm happy with. Winch is broken, rust has eaten what remains of the chain. Inside of the fortress, making out the console and the blast door. Pain in your pelvis makes you wince, then you continue. Okay, thanks game. The depot that supplied this chain is long gone from the coast. Oh, more fuel.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
Have we found the spot?
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
The Lieutenant Lewis's voice stepping close with his hand on his gun. Inspect the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Take one out of the can.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
I saw the same brand of cigarettes extinguished in Land's End, Point West.
Could be a coincidence. Or the same person has visited Land's End and
He looks around.
here. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
Inspect the wall.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Touch the concrete.
Quite old and grimy, from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain.
Well, the rain does an okay job, I suppose. Look through the hole in the concrete.
The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water. The ruins look familiar.
On the right.
The red chimney and collapsed rear wall of the 4-story tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10.
And on the left.
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B.
And between the two?
The box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop, sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
There it is.
Do you have a line of sight to the window?
More than that.
Kim, with a pair of binoculars, I would be able to see inside the room.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
He points to the makeshift bed.
Cheek against the cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
Kim, I could make it. I could make the shot.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
He pats you on the back, 3 small pats in a row.
Affirmative.
Finally.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
You're right.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress.
Could the shooter still be here?
Where?
He looks behind his back. On this island.
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
I did like how the option was right here and you pat the mattress. I don't think they're in the mattress, though.
he feels uncomfortable suddenly.
We should move now.
An old medicine cabinet newly stocked with dramine. A weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol. That's never gonna happen, and it's frustrating. Forfeited? I did that. But I did it. Why is it forfeited? I asked him, and he... Oh, okay. Chalk that up to a potential bug, why not? I'm just leveling up at random at this point, I'll be honest. I think because he was telling an awful story, you told him to stop? Oh, maybe. If your eyes on your back, someone's watching, but you can't say where. That is true. But he did also tell me stuff about the tattoos. That's a bit mean, game. That's a bit on the harsh side. Especially if you're so triggered by the topics he was talking about. Oh, right. Speaking of. I do apologise. Boom. Fix it. Water rushes below, far down below. Time to sleep.
There's a greasy...
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is...
You force the...
You know, officer, you can rest.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner.
Let's relive
the blanket
Harry's
feels, you feel yourself
trauma,
standing
shall
up
we?
in the darkness, right next to sleep.
I also want to apologise again for how I was towards the end of the last stream of this. My blood sugar was horrendously low, and I was obviously under time pressure, and I work well under time pressures, but that's when I've got time to gather myself. Obviously, I don't really have that when streaming. And low blood sugar is never a good time for me. So I apologise for being less than professional. And obviously there was the whole upset expectations thing. Oh, hey. The door is back, like you never opened it. It's like it's a dream! But it's important to own one's mistakes, so I do apologise. My limit is about 4 hours. That's why I rarely stream for longer than 4 hours. Close the chain.
Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism. Okay, don't say you need to talk right.
Hey,
Okay, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good, actually. Both
In my
professional.
head, I
Well,
miss you.
I'm in my head too.
Do you miss me there?
Sometimes.
This is everything I always.
I'm
are you
going to
going?
Morova. To
What's in the
just
bag?
my scepter, my globe crucifix.
of
Oh,
immortality.
this is just.
She silence.
Anyway,
Your skin is holy and soft?
no, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not as beautiful as you always thought I was. Let's not get into.
You are. None of the others are as beautiful as you.
She silence. A
Need
distant
to have one
wind
more massive
blows.
epic showdown.
No, Harry. No. We don't have anything. It's all gone.
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try now.
Okay, I think this is where roughly where I got to. I get the feeling you're not really Dolores Day.
I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day.
She looks at you quizzically. Does not seem like a mystery she wants to get into. You're... Point to your head. The morning.
The morning. I don't understand.
No, I meant mourning. I'm grieving, but you're not even dead.
Oh my god, Harry, stop. I don't want to hear anything about the morning. Mourning someone who's still alive. Any of that. I can't do that anymore. I'm not 80 years old, I'm 32. People my age are not supposed to mourn.
She breathes out. It's more angry than a sigh.
This is a bit much for me. It feels like your ribs are cracking around your heart.
Just rub your chest and moan.
The advisor to the Queen of Sorrence sighs and looks down at the crumbling asphalt. There is nothing she can do about your chest pain.
You're the ex something.
Wasn't I Dolores Day just a second ago? Now I'm the X thing? You're confusing me. Look, I have to be at the Lausanne Aerodrome at 10:20 p.m. I still have a light rail to catch. I haven't even bought the tickets yet.
She keeps glancing over her shoulder nervously.
We all told you. Everyone warned you.
Who, everyone?
Everyone.
Thanks, ancient reptilian brain.
Literally all of you.
Should have gone even deeper to a place where I never met you. Because it's impossible to meet people in the abyss of the void.
Great. It's the abyss of the void. Soon it will be the gloaming, then it will be the world ending. My friends are waiting for me on the platform, Harry. It's impolite to...
I kind of thought that would be a response to the reptilian brain and limbic system, not to the ex-wife, I'm assuming.
What?
Say nothing, just look at her.
She does not look back. Instead, eyes her fingernails. They're bitten frayed. The evening wind blows in. The gown wraps around her like a white flag. 1,000 times you beat an animal. 1,000 times you've raised that fabric. What is underneath has always calmed you, centered you, made you sane.
Yeah, I'm not going to call her an evil ape. On second thoughts, you're Dolores Day, Queen Regnant of the territories of Mundi and Insulinda and nothing else.
Yes, Harry. I am. Things have gotten much better for me, now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
She pulls up the silvery sleeve of her gown to check the time.
A tiny golden watch with red straps. around her bony little wrists.
See, I don't seem to really have consent to do this, if I'm being honest. So maybe I won't do that. You said I have a vast soul and you will always come back to it.
We both said a lot of
It was her. I can feel
I
it.
remember
as Queen
talking
Regnant.
about this,
You
actually.
need to recite.
So I'm going to skip through this.
Put a stake through your heart.
I summarised it.
Okay, Harry. It was 100.
The light of the video rental shines through her dress now. A DeLorean figure, cut in black, moves below. It's still her. Her legs, her breasts, her hips.
I was cool.
The coolest. With your leather jacket and your boot-cut pants. Smoking in the bus stop. I wanted you to be the rest of my life that day.
You fool.
And you were. Some of it, at least. You were my first. My first kiss. My first time to have sex. The first and worst time I fell in love. I will always have that with me. It's a fact. But that is all it is. It's like a ticket stub, Harry. It doesn't do anything anymore.
A ticket stub.
Yes, let's talk about that too.
She nods.
Let's bring it up, the zoo. In Le Jardin, the day we went east of the river, to the aquarium first, I was sad about my mother. I don't even know why. The shimmer of the fish tank on my face, the octopuses. It was just a day then, but to think, were we there now, you could touch my hair, kiss me, talk to me about anything, go virtually anywhere in the world. Not like now. Now our interactions are limited to pain and regret.
Can't you turn back to the person you were? I can see her in you, under the gown and that wreath.
And my crown of immortality. No.
She shakes her head.
You scared her out of me. With your crying,
She stops.
the awful time we wound up having. And the cheap rental flats you could afford. Can't you see? I can never think you're cool again. I can only think that way about new people.
I feel like Harry might be projecting here slightly.
A cheap rental with mold on the walls and the tap dripping.
Cheap flat, so the rich man took you from me?
Yes, I have found someone. For whom I can feel the same. A copy of my love for you, only this time he is careful and rich. He will not lose me. It will go somewhere, it will grow.
Your heart burns. Through the blackness you feel the trickle of blood on the mattress below you.
Harry, do you notice how none of this is very funny?
Yes, you're the least funny part about me.
I hate being that. I don't want to be anything for you. I hope the decades it takes for you to get over me have already passed.
Voyager Road, I know that place. Where is it?
It's here, Harry. We are on Voyager Road.
She looks around.
At the end of it, 300 meters from the stop. We used to come here to rent videos.
The house.
There. You could not pay the electrical bill. It became a lightless tomb. The years you spent training for the militia, my parents' money, it was not good.
She points across the water into the darkness.
Surely the alcohol didn't help either.
Were we drinking?
Everyone has a little glass of wine every now and then. I certainly do. It's a Queen Regnant thing. I don't think it was the alcohol. It was inevitability.
She looks at her toenails sticking out from under the gown. Not her toes, you understand, just the nails.
See? If you drank with her, you'd be cool again. If you drank with her, you could have sex on alcohol.
Yes, because that's always a good idea. What now? What happens now? What is the next thing we talk about?
Is there really anything left? If not, we can always repeat one of the things we have already talked about. Talk about it again. If you do not feel like doing that, you should let me go to the aerodrome.
But that's not a very good way for things to be.
It's not. But
She looks at her feet. Little golden sandals cover her toes. But what? Tell me there's something good.
I don't know why I said but. There is no but.
That's it?
That's it, yes. We've talked about it a million times. You will get over it, just like I did. People do. Things will get good for you again.
She looks up from her toes.
Where in hell?
I'm not getting over it at all.
It just takes some time. For you, I think it will take something like 20 years, maybe? It was hard for me too, you know? I used to think I couldn't live without you.
She looks you straight in the eyes. Her iris is a light blue flecked with green.
But I can.
20 years? That's so much time.
Yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew.
She smiles and wipes her brow in relief. So you felt that way once, that you cannot live without me?
Yes. But that time is gone now. So very gone.
Doesn't have to be like this. Maybe we could try again?
No, Harry. We can't.
Why?
We already tried again, and it didn't work.
Is that how it is now? We should just try all good things twice and then give up. By that logic,
What went wrong when we tried again? I can do it better.
I don't know. Please.
She shuffles from one golden sandaled foot to the other. In the distance, a streetcar screeches. Why? Why can't we be together?
Harry, we can't be together because you're insane.
Her eyes turn to sorrowful ovals.
she avoids turning them to you.
Insane? How?
They're turning moist now. Her eyes. She slowly shakes her head and tries to get a hold of herself, brushing her hands in her gown.
No. We're getting to the bottom of this. What do you mean by insane?
You know what I mean.
Everyone gets a little down.
A little down. You've worked there for so long, you can't even talk like a normal person anymore. It's always lists with you. Questions.
Questions? Did someone say questions?
I don't really want to lie to this internal manifestation of presumably Harry's ex-wife. Sure, I will.
This is another list, isn't it?
Lists are absolutely normal. Everyone has them. You just list everything you want to ask.
In descending order, usually. It's best to do them like that.
Trees.
It's not just the lists. You get sad, Harry. Too sad. People can't get that sad. It's impossible to watch.
She corrects the wreath on her head with her hands trembling now.
Other people get sad too, but not like you. You stay down for too long. And if you're not down, you're up, running around asking questions. Millions of questions. In conclusion, you're ill. You're an old, insane man. And you have to be in hell until the end of your life. And I have to go to Morova.
I'm waiting to see if I've affected this in any way. I bought you this figurine of a headless fallen rider.
I don't want it. It looks expensive. I don't want it.
Thought you liked figurines. I thought the figurines were for getting you back.
That's not what figurines do, Harry.
But then the figurines don't do anything.
She looks at the headless found rider between your fingers and doesn't know what to say. The figurines don't do anything? Anything at all. But I thought the historic figure she had.
She liked war games and figurines.
Yes, I thought it would be good. A form of communication where words have failed. Yes, it was a good idea. But she felt obliged by the headless phone rider to give you things in return. Things she no longer wants to give you. So she refused.
Which is fair.
That's how it goes. Your figurine rider idea was naive.
Okay, I won't give you things then.
I didn't ask for things. It's too late to give me anything.
That's an achievement.
I would have liked the headless fallen rider. Back then.
Chat, do I go for the kiss? Do I do it? I'm going to check my email while chat decides. We've got one vote for no. My preference is also leaning towards no, but for the sake of seeing everything, figured I'd give you the option. All of these emails, none of them being the one I want. As uncomfortable as it was, I did. Oh dear. Was it worth it? By the way, you should never do this in real life. This conversation's very much a you don't have consent to kiss me conversation. I'm not going to accuse her of being a mass murderer, by the way. My pick, you're not even human. I'm going to go with you're not even human, and then if the option's still there, throw it open to chat. See, whoa. And if I get back here, chat, you've gone, was it worth it? I'd have hated not to explore the dialogue, even though I don't like the action. That's true. That is true. And that's where I am right now. I'm going to do it just to explore the dialogue.
With your feet trembling from the steps you took, tepid and fearful, you stand against her, her body close to you, radiating warmth. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back.
I feel her breath.
Her chest rising like a pillow, warm exhalations against the side of your mouth. Her tender soul moving through her lungs. Hidden, distant, kept safe from you.
Her cheek against mine.
Feels like soft fuzz, a bird covered in down feathers, brushing against your broken capillaries.
Cold silver against my forehead.
The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air.
But I succeeded.
This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested it, and you should not have listened to me.
We're not going to compound the issue. You're not kissing me back.
The moment is ending. She is going to move her face away from yours.
Hey, it's better than her kneeing his in testicles. I feel shame.
Trying hard not to look at you. When she withdrew and you held on to her hand, she tried not to look at your face and see the expression there. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I failed you.
That's it then.
No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you have to see.
She slides her hands down her chest and onto her lower stomach and smiles.
I'm pregnant.
Is it mine?
Of course not.
She looks down at her belly, then up into your old eyes.
I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. Poverty-stricken fuck.
Well, that came out of nowhere. Thanks for that game.
Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions. Let's talk about something else.
She wipes her palms into the silk of her gown.
No, this has to end. Do the last one.
Don't go.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the 8:30. I'm gonna go now.
Her fingers wrap around the bag handle.
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything.
No, well,
You should go on without me.
It's not actually what the text says. The text says, "You have sworn a holy oath, Harry. She herself begged you to not let her go." I need to see my list again. I'm sorry. Where's my list? But I swore I wouldn't let you go. You told me. You asked me to be this way.
That was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and I'm happier for it. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I must be on the 10:20 flight.
She turns. Will we ever see each other again?
I won't see you, but you will see me.
How can that be?
Oh, Harry. This is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened?
She looks around.
A year? 2? 5 years ago?
How will I see you again, then?
Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental.
As uncomfortable as I always feel with that, as I always was with that action, this is a dream sequence. It isn't real. I always felt that the only person harmed by any of the sequence is Harry's, who worked through all of this. Poor Harry. Poor Harry, indeed.
I'm suffocatingly beautiful. And young. And I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum. Like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness. After leaving you the first time. So long ago.
This is intolerably bad.
Oh yes. This is real darkness. It's not death, or war, or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry.
I'd say less real darkness and more a different kind of darkness.
See you tomorrow.
Hopefully, after going for about 4 days without alcohol or drugs, Harry's on this long, slow path to acceptance and recovery. Harry needs a hug. Hey, Kim, do you want to give Harry a hug? Does that actually do anything?
You're up quick. How was your sleep?
Spit out the blood, get back to work. Actually, it was total annihilation, Kim.
I did not want to wake you. Perhaps I should have? Was it a job dream?
No, an ex-wife dream.
The lieutenant nods solemnly. I understand. We've all been through similar things. It can be overcome.
Swallow the blood and conclude. Let's comb the entire island centimetre by centimetre. That's the next step in the task chain.
Okay.
He replies simply.
He's still worried. You must have really thrashed and squealed in your sleep.
And just like that, it's like I was never shot at all. Harry, I have to encourage you to seek proper psychiatric help. Not that this seems like the kind of world where such things exist, but there we go. Rubber dinghy, it's deflated, broken. Small white flowers blossom all around you. Hey! Like the teeny tiny white flowers that I have in my pocket. Those flowers. Oh hey, that might be the murder weapon.
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids to meet yours.
Kim and Harry are one. All of our dreams have come true.
Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
He cups his ear. Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out their fire? 2 twins.
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position. Fire guy.
He shakes his head.
Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit.
He shrugs.
But it gets the job done.
Is that a Bell Magrave?
It's a Triangong 446.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman, he ain't wrong. He's not. He could have maybe phrased it slightly better, but he's not technically wrong about Harry.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
The Sinyao commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk, white from the ball.
His gaze turned inwards. You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains motionless.
Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
I fueled the generator, then used the console.
I should have burned that console down.
He shakes his head. How did you know I was coming?
The boat engine.
He gestures
On the
north.
water.
Your weapon... let's... Sir, I need you to put down that gun so we can talk further. We're with the police.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night
He
watchman.
looks you in the eye.
This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
I am an enemy commander of rank. Put it down.
The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
And what rank would that be? Dog.
Lieutenant W. Freitor.
A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army.
He sighs.
To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
The man lays the rifle down, carelessly, then stares at it, just lying there.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
Pick up the gun.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times.
Inspected closer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
It's as he said, it's a Trangong made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
The lieutenant does not take his eyes off the old man.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
This uses jacketed ammunition, 4.46.
The right type and the right calibre.
The lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun.
He's liking this.
The rifle has been patched and modified several times.
I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him.
Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
The lieutenant forgets to close his mouth.
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08.
Well, it's 51 now, so dude, the war might have been over a little bit.
I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
You've been on this island for 43 years.
No. I've been on other islands, too.
He looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs. Well, at least he's moved house a couple of times.
I was in a resurrection until they turned it into a spa in '18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was...
He thinks.
22 years ago.
Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years.
43 years and 10 months.
That's steadfast.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to.
He grimaces, clearly in pain.
I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Chat, just so you know, because you can't see the clock, obviously, it is in fact only 12:59 in-game. That is not late afternoon.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution.
I've been there. The city is. I've been there. The city is a tinderbox. It may still happen.
It won't. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves.
Could be winter though, if there's only 3 to 4 hours of daylight left. I don't think that's reflected. It's late winter, certainly in game, so maybe. I guess it depends if you measure the lateness of the afternoon by the amount of sunlight left or by the time left.
The historic opportunity for our revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession will lighten the load.
What have you done then?
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
The lieutenant steps closer.
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams.
You said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism.
You could say that, but I won't.
A second is all it took
For what?
for reaction to take hold.
What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
It wasn't reaction. You were just afraid.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
It remains unclear what it is. He makes leaps he doesn't expect you to follow.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out.
May the 13th, '08. 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower.
He gestures toward it.
Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon. But I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
He looks at the sky. As a side note, I can well sympathise. That would be terrifying. Obviously, it's sort of the whole point of an artillery barrage, but still, the psychological as well as the physical effect. What was that?
Airships. I climbed out
He closes his eyes.
into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
He opens his eyes and stares right through you. Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world.
He's silent for a second.
You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know
What?
that the bourgeois are not human.
Say nothing. Let him finish.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. What is this place, this island?
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
What was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing? Retaking of Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow.
He winces.
I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
coalition military.
Iblis,
Iblis?
the black-eyed angel.
He nods. That's the Arabic for Lucifer, right? Iblis? How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
He looks at his worn running shoes.
Now hold on there.
That's a choice. You could have become self-employed, create the system.
You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog.
He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
You don't have long left then.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
Say an analog yes, there are slight differences. Cool.
TRCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I'm moving over the big C word
I
because that's
need
one of my
to
triggers.
die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
A droll smile stretches across his mouth.
You also have Druamine.
We have Druamine and other opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain.
I have been running out of that stuff.
A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
You like that Druamine, don't you?
It's the little joys. A dark joke. A sunshiny day. Morphine.
A crooked smile appears on his face. This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over and we can do it.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
Notice the lieutenant is about to say something.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone.
He nods toward Martinez.
I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
How have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the Thames.
He shakes his head.
I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds.
He closes his eyes.
Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Coal City were turned to dust.
He looks south.
But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsoff coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them.
He shakes his head.
Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead.
How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy.
He nods towards the deflated tower.
I only
and the
went
reeds.
after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
The weapons cache under San Gislan 22B. Point to it, in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
He looks at you, then pulls the raincoat tighter around his neck. They were damaged beyond use.
I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping.
He coughs.
Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there?
The propaganda bunker.
He coughs.
I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves?
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them.
He stares at the ruins of the Feld building.
No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
One more question. Do you smoke Tiu Mutiri cigarettes?
I do.
Ever smoke them on the mainland? Point to Land's End.
They're good.
He nods.
Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
Tell me another thing.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter.
We enforce the law. We keep these animals from killing each other.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International. The enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans ce land.
He stares at the embers, then into your eyes.
Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
The communards signed the Revacholian Instrument of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honourable.
Honor is a feudal atavism.
He looks at the fire pit.
My motive is class.
So you're a communist soldier from the communist army?
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
No true communard and so on. Yeah, we're just going to keep moving those goalposts. So political officer, so my understanding of the commissariat would be that it was designed to reinforce the beliefs of the army and make sure everyone acted in line with them and kind of general mental conditioning. But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
Wait, what does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
The lieutenant says softly. That's basically what I said.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution. A future human.
The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology.
That means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
Say nothing. I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world.
What have,
It's a farce.
what have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
The lieutenant nods.
There is no after the war.
He shakes his head and smiles, his teeth rotten
Class
black.
war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But
But what?
this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot.
What is serotonin, chat? Answers on the back of a postcard, please.
The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped?
What did I just say?
He keeps shaking his head erratically suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye. Happiness hormone. Serotonin is a neurochemical associated with contentment.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
If my own experience is anything to go by, serotonin is a unicorn. See, that's a more realistic answer, chat. Fat Chance knows what's up. I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Cronell?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
He looks up at the sky and clacks his tongue.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step toward him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
He spits a big one at the lieutenant's feet. We do not treat Kim that way, sir.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
What am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head. We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
A jitter passes him.
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Druss. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
The man interrupts him.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists, for fascists, done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
The view is perfect. With a pair of binoculars I could have seen in the room.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Another sudden twitch, then one more one in his right eye.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
I don't need your cooperation, I've got this. Show him the Trangong 446.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the Liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons?
It chortles.
Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject, we have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. Dramatically asks, you think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range.
It
We
is.
have it. This is it.
I'm calling it, we have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
I do like how the weather changes and when it snows, you get snow on the ground.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
You're a communist. I talked to the dead man. He told me communism killed him.
Stupid dwat.
He scoffs.
The lieutenant looks at you with worry in his eyes.
That's fair, Kim.
Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this.
It was intuition.
Intuition is an aberrant psychologism.
He chortles.
It reeks of crypto-fascism. The parasite class use intuition to justify their rank in life. It's all just palmistry and magic, Earl creatures. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
Ah, shoot, not the radio waves. He looks at the air, then turns to the lieutenant.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked. Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist.
How?
Perhaps you suspected it before you took the case. The vision was you remembering that.
But this did nothing.
Was it supposed to?
The 5G is killing us. Makes us compliant. Yeah, so I've had all 3 doses of my 5G. We're all good. I will look deeper.
The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface, meaningless.
Turn back to him.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
Back off for a moment. Tell me this.
You're lost, Dwat. You're lost.
Hey, how do people feel about 2 points in composure if I can find composure?
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild.
You know, we did use radio waves to find a hole in the world. You are not wrong. Maybe there's something about what this man's saying. He is surprisingly okay.
Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
Animated? By what?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system.
Dementia?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
Mr. Dross, are you on some kind of psychoactive substance?
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
He snaps out of staring through you.
You said you take painkillers.
The lieutenant follows your lead.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain, untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor.
Are you sure about him being lucid? Maybe he's just affected by an extreme case of socialism.
Oh gosh dang it, it's contagious. Now I'm infected by socialism.
It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Are you on amphetamines?
Like some kind of decadent rock star.
He doesn't dignify it with more of an answer. Mr. Dross, are you okay? How's your memory?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
You know what? That's fair. He waves his hand, chasing something that's not there.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course.
I wish socialism was more infectious.
Could it be a symptom
Amen.
of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Tear into him again. Pile it on him.
What am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of your head.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here.
I told you they
They're
were.
revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring.
I guess it's early spring, not late winter.
Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course. Thank you, Head. Thank you.
You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul.
I wonder what kind of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa,
He looks at his running shoes covered in mud.
some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dross.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is called Sansarique, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Sure, I'll try it. I failed.
Simpler? No. This is another loose thread you will never connect.
Goddamn footprints everywhere. I hate them.
The lieutenant raises his brow. What are you doing? He's thinking. We almost got him here.
What do we do now? We're not getting this prince to match.
People change shoes, detective. It was you. You were there, weren't you? Crawling and whirling in rags. What were you doing? Some kind of reconnaissance? Preparing the scene? Listening in on her?
Trying to rack your brains. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
He squints at him, eyes gleaming with hatred.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last little push.
There were Maybells behind the victim's window. Show him the dried flower.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He looks at the blossoming field behind you.
He seems tender suddenly. Nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinez. Only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our
He
blood.
looks to the water.
Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
The lieutenant's voice is soft, friendly.
I may.
Curious tremor passes his face. A young woman called Classia, ring any bells? These dried flowers were behind her window.
Classia.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch. A spasm.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He looks you dead in the eye, pupils shaking, breathe through flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So who shot him?
Oh, the inhumanity.
He closes his eyes.
One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Hold breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face.
The smile quivers.
And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly. Curse you, bugged task!
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle?
He explains.
I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it,
Click.
If it's part of the shit you see,
then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
he looks the lieutenant in the eye.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift. Start with when he first saw him. It will give him a chance to ramble.
When did you first see the deceased?
3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley. Her honor guard came in tow.
Joyce. He means Joyce.
By that you mean Joyce Messier, the Wild Pines rep?
Wrinkled up whore.
Cough. Moving on. The victim arrives sometime after her.
They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout.
He nods toward the city.
Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing. sloppy and drunk. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and Mesk phalangs weren't conscripts. Boys like us. They were whites. All they know is to destroy and hurt.
Whites?
Barely alive. They like to kill while they're on their drugs. After the landing, in the burning years, I would take shots at them. End them. The worst ones, if I had a bullet to spare. I could see they've returned now, to show their real face. The face they don't dare show their bourgeois voters back on Mundi, with their families and polyester clothes.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
He looks at the charred wood. So you were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode.
Wanted her to see his head explode.
That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head.
He squints.
Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But
He shrugs.
you can't have everything.
He wants to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
You wanted to punish her, so you killed him.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
He shakes his head and stares at the ashes.
You stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf. Airport bag in hand. Silks flowing in her wake.
It's got nothing to do with that. Try to forget it.
It's no good, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air. It smells of burning buildings.
Men are insane. Say nothing.
The old man raises his gaze. Something glimmers in the corner of his black eye. A bitter taste on his tongue.
How long had you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding her documents, Kim.
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and ticket to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
Some kind of hidden container on the coast? You looked into it?
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
The lieutenant mutters to himself.
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean...
He seems confused momentarily. Moving on, did you continue watching her after this?
I did.
He almost smiles.
She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. And a body, hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too.
He nods.
A spook. On the run. Revershal's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms
What an
dealers
image.
end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
The cloaca of capital, huh?
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
This man has a way with words.
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see her bruises through the scope of a rifle?
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
How does he know those minute details about her body?
It quickly comes to you.
The bruises on her body. Any chance you've seen them through a hole in the wall?
Oh,
He
yes.
smacks his lips.
Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip-point knife.
Good for listening in, too, for hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Ever see her through a window on a roof?
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling in rags. Those were your footprints there. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
That too.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
He keeps shaking his head.
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
But the key.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over.
Fair.
And I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points toward the whirling in rags.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
You had feelings for that woman.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
He needs company. He's human.
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there.
He looks to the city.
It's weakness, I know.
Was that why you left the dried flowers behind her window?
No.
He starts to shake his head again, a sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells?
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her.
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.
He lowers his head and just stares at the logs.
A sudden pang of rage.
If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
He wipes his eye.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him. It was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes and the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
I'm not at liberty to say.
I know she's gone. Locked up, or on the run. She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at the fort. Like she knew. Like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
He adds, to no one in particular.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol. Cold rain falls on 40-story towers. Above them, Lausanne Central Aerodrome. A cocoon suspended in the grey sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghost of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Street lights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes.
1, it says the spring air, and 2, it's not night, it is 5 to 3 in the afternoon.
He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
The lieutenant uses the opportunity to tell you in a lowered voice.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking.
Been looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
He shakes to life.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house, stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
He shakes his head in grave disgust. How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins. In their lorries.
He points inland.
Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that social democratic union and the farce of a social democrat who runs it.
Mr. Leclerc? Morning, Bubs. Today's Wordy Lunch Lurk is brought to you by Puff of Corn. By Puffcorn. Put some poof in your loof. Today. Okay, well, that's definitely an interesting approach to the Lunch Lurk message. Hope you're doing okay, Monsieur Claire?
Yes. The fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Oh, I'm not interrupting.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
He points to the church, keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. That all?
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no.
This guy's pretty intense. No. Egghead was intense. He was both hardcore and intense.
The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day.
Ah, righto.
It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Quayamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
This man has opinions with a capital O. Say nothing.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children.
Okay.
Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead.
Suddenly glad I'm not rich? Just gonna nod.
We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
Sax Coburg has left the chat. What follows in the ominous mumbling? You cannot make out a single word. Hey, don't insult disco.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter.
Disco
Whores.
is all he says. Even that word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. You mentioned the Union is social democratic, and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment.
It pokes at the ash.
Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's the disappointment? Everard Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Edgar.
You mean Edgar, Everard's brother?
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed.
We're not the first people we've met from the city, are we?
You can't live alone.
He's stopped poking at the ash now, just shakes his head.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I've hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf.
He nods to you.
He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
He points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here?
Let me be here.
He looks around.
The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Crenel mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat.
He shakes his head.
As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something.
I'm not going to attempt. I'll attempt it. Why not? I failed.
Oh no, the connection doesn't come to you on such a pivotal moment.
Well, I could have put 2 points into logic. That's on me.
Dumbo, do something. You can't zone out now. This isn't Doodaloo dance time. Slap yourself in the head again. Jumpstart it.
Wait, it was about him meeting Edgar in a deal.
By God, we are on the edge, in the very end, and you can't even remember what you're trying to connect, can you? While the murder suspect stares at you with contempt.
Punch yourself in the head.
Officer!
The lieutenant watches you beat yourself in the head. Again, the second time in this interview.
He quickly realizes what is happening.
Mr. Dross, about this deal you made
He turns to
with
him.
Edgar. The death of the Crenel mercenary was only coincidentally beneficial to the Clares. But
He leans closer.
what about the other people you've killed for them?
Other people?
Like the previous 4 women of the Union.
That's it. That's what you weren't connecting yourself.
I didn't fight 40 years to end up an informant for the international regime. What happened, happened.
He wags a finger at the lieutenant.
Still dumb, your eyes are transfixed on his digit. It's yellow with nicotine. Before, when you asked him about the Union, he said it was a disappointment. They promised him something political.
They promised political change, and they didn't deliver.
Look who's up.
He scoffs.
You're worse off than me.
We will have plenty of time to talk about this, Mr. Dross, when you're in pre-detention. It takes years in pre-detention.
He does not let him gloat.
Go ahead. I've been in solitary confinement my whole life.
The straggler closes his gap-toothed smile.
Ease off it. This was not an unmitigated disaster. The lieutenant mitigated it. Just proceed, calmly.
By the cock parading in his colourful uniform, you mean René?
Every fucking morning for 34 years.
He grinds his teeth in rage.
Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor.
Just gonna nod.
I remember him.
He points to his black eye.
I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
With his shaky finger, he points to the city, toward the crater near the plaza, where a lonely pine tree stands.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today.
There's no one there.
Fat and plump. Like a pheasant.
He does not hear you.
Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross. Shoot me.
A grin stretches across his face.
He whispers with such predatory hunger. It borders on longing.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals,
The smile
right
lingers.
on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
The lieutenant asks cheerfully.
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock,
Yuck.
René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel.
Yeah, fat chance, you're not wrong. Kim did get a little too into that.
Better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one. For him. Haven't seen him there lately. Must be down with arthritis. Old cunt.
The lines on his face straighten as he looks inland.
Momentarily, he's worried for him. He reminds him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of another thing, but no. It's just the hatred.
I'm glad we talked about this now.
Glad? It's all gone.
He stares into the dust at his feet, grey and dirty spring grass all around. Right, chat. Camera, all I did was stretch. Why are you like this, webcam? I'll fix it, don't worry. Webcam overcome with thirst. Yeah, that's not the answer we're going with. It has taken nearly 3 hours in game. It was what, 12:59, just before 1 o'clock when I spoke with him. It is now 20 past 3 in game on the 7th day. We're going to arrest him for the murder of Ellis Cortana.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
The old man's eyes fill with sudden, unexpected terror at the words.
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Now he's rocking backwards and forwards.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But...
Do you understand? Kim, he's afraid.
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
I'm gonna try it. Wait.
There it is
Hey.
again. To your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it,
What?
something completely different. It sounds like a bow,
Oh no.
very slowly being drawn against the strings of a
The phasmid!
violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
The phasmid!
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat.
And then it's gone. Drowned out by the lieutenant's voice. Shh, Kim, do you hear that?
What?
What are you talking about? Is this...
The old man's
really
voice
us?
drowns in a sudden gust of wind.
Your skin crawls.
Please. Please be the Insulindian phasmid. Yes! There it is! It's glorious. And I'm wearing pheromones. Mating pheromones, I suspect.
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
I was here! We have seen the unseeable! Okay, well, I've just created a moment of that because the phasmid. Hopefully, the moment extends to the phasmid animation, so we can include that. That was an achievement. Glad you succeeded at the check. Heading off. Have fun. Thank you, Nasanic. Have fun yourself. Don't forget to click the moment badge in chat. You've got like 3 minutes to claim it to be the I was here person. I'm going to simply blink.
It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
Already done it. Thank you. Take care. No worries. What is that? Point to it.
What are you talking about?
The old man looks at the reeds, then at you. Oh, it's so cute. The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
He looks confused. Oh, it's there. I can see it.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster to grab the gun.
There is. I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Kim, can you see it?
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane.
It's not in my mind.
But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The lieutenant whispers and takes a step toward the giant arthropod. I'll be getting another moment out of this chat.
creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. The segmented antennae move with apprehension, searching for something. You. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. The hiss is different from the strings you heard before. It says something else in a lower pitch.
I'm going to listen carefully.
You smell...
It's the Insulindian phasmid.
It is.
The lieutenant whispers behind you. You hear the familiar ring of his jacket unzipping, slowly, painstakingly so.
You glance over your shoulder. The lieutenant holds a piece of milled aluminium. He begins to pull it open, extremely carefully. It's the camera.
Are you sure you won't scare it off?
We need a photo. No one will believe us.
He continues to pull the lens open.
From the corner of your eye, you see a sudden cascade of motion ripple through the phasmid's limbs. A series of ultrasonic clicks fills your ear. I am not palatable. Do not eat me. I am afraid.
It's afraid. Stop now.
I won't be one of those fools who didn't take a picture.
He has stopped fiddling with the camera but does not put it down.
He's letting his pride get in the way. You see the phasmid turn to him, its mandible antennae reaching out. Its motions are quick, sudden.
I have the pheromone. I can approach it.
I don't think the pheromone will do anything.
He turns to a skeptical hiss, but he has stopped now.
The spindly mechanism turns itself back to you, its antennae taking their measure of the air, slowly.
Say something to it quietly, something like, don't be afraid.
Nothing changes in the cyclical braying motion of the creature's limbs. They are porcelain white on the inside and reed-colored on the out, beige, light brown, and striped. You are unsure if it is scared or not.
Please don't give me snake eyes. I was here!
Slowly, with your
Wow.
breath held,
Whew.
you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows.
We're having another moment from that.
Like laughter, a sort of happiness. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Raise your hand slowly.
The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence.
Unlike the angel Harry Dubois, be not afraid.
No, stop. Be afraid.
Put your hand down.
The invertebrate comes back to life, stridulating. Sets of complex eyes follow you, moving in tandem on either side of the insect's small head.
Meanwhile, the other man watches in confusion. Indeed. Hello, I'm Harry. I don't really know who I am.
No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you.
Stand on your tiptoes and look more closely.
You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. The faintest smell like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Kim, it's foaming.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The lieutenant watches you apprehensively.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning.
Tell me, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Never mind.
Its simple eyes give off no flicker of light. No one is home. The twitches of its limbs are insect-like, unknowable, perhaps without substance even.
I want there to be more.
Mute, the insect foams from its mouth parts, tilting the plates of its fused-together head from left to right, without reason.
Okay, Kim, take the picture.
Okay.
With a slow ring of metal, the lieutenant slides the lens open and raises it to eye level.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The lieutenant whispers. His voice is tense.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the
Yes.
blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
You hear the lieutenant whisper as the creature's shape develops onto photo paper in his hand. A polychrome ghost of white streaks against reeds in the sky, and you as a shadow before it. I'm going to slowly reach out and touch its whisker.
The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the kiting curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through your body. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young vine. It's even a bit wet.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
Look at your finger.
You were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of you stays frozen.
Lick.
It tastes like sugar, very faint. The anthropod towers above you,
Lick it now.
tufts of reeds pointing from limb and head alike.
I did not need the encouragement. We're doing science.
Odorless, mostly comprised of water.
Carefully pet its side-like forearm.
The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. Warning!
Gonna pull my hand away.
A sudden shiver passes the limb. Looks like the creature is awakening. Wave by wave from its stupor, some sort of countdown process is happening. That's all you have time to think.
We got it.
Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you.
I get a bonus for having tasted it. Tell me, where are you? What are you doing?
I exist.
I exist too.
Tell me what it's like for you.
Fire, burning.
Fire? Where?
On the horizon, pale fire. This thing we're both sensing is coming to an end.
That is your problem. Nothing ever ends for me. There is only room for 2, maybe 3 pictures in my mind. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness being intruded upon. Transient, dim, moist.
Intruded upon? By what?
Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms. All speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never burn.
The fuck is happening to me right now? You're the type of animal I would like to be.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Why do you ask?
Sometimes, when molting, I will grow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced the missing antenna.
That's cool.
No, the leg tried to move around independently. making it hard to walk.
You don't have a foot there now.
Yes. Thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molded, I grew an antenna again.
You went for a meeting and came out to an Eldritch Horror. Two ETFs are going up. Babe, this is not an Eldritch Horror. This is the Insulindian phasmid. It is a cryptid. It is a giant stick insect that no one thought existed. And we found it. And now we're communicating with it because Harry is tripping balls right now. I'm a detective.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect?
The killer.
He's in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. I only quicken his deterioration.
You're destroying him?
Very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads. But he has looked at me for too long, and I am destroying him.
Oh no, poor thing. This is a cryptid horror, and Eldritch Horror will try eating us. Unstable desk, you're not wrong there. Is this a dream? What is happening?
No, you are awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real.
Where does this come from, all this, around us, the world?
Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily.
Then all we can do is beat our fists against it day after day with no answer?
You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth.
I mean, not wrong.
Yum yum. Or read.
Yum yum!
Wait, so
So you look like a reed, and you eat reeds.
Yes, they don't mind.
Have you accidentally eaten another reed phasmid?
Yes, I once cloned myself and ate the little ones. It was winter, and I woke up at the wrong time. It was an accident.
Now I want to hug the phasmid. What exactly are you?
I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmadia, endemic to the Insulindian Insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys.
it may have unknown, dangerous biochemical characteristics that help it maintain its camouflage.
I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain. Also, by the soldiers of the revolution and officials
Stan,
of
Harry,
the
and Fazzy.
occupation.
I'm there for it, fat
Even
chance.
the Seminese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me.
Although I could show an Insulindian to Inzi, making this the Inzi Biggie phasmid. You could, if you particularly wanted to. Don't come near me or my arthropod girlfriend ever again.
I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Revershaw, district of Martinez, March 51.
Are you poisonous?
Yes, I do not have a starter display, so I use a neurodegenerative element to aid in camouflage. Do not worry. It is only destructive over long periods of time.
The deserter. He's been here for a long time.
That's insane.
No, you are.
True, true.
The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile senior nerve system, ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not.
I've been reading about
The
Nidarians.
radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all.
Wait, the pale is human-made?
It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind.
So it's social media. Got it. I don't have that kind of power.
You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident.
How?
We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust, that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
A violent and irrepressible miracle is such a good line. It really is. Worse how?
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if you misplace us all one day, or just forget?
I will be extra careful not to blink, stick insect, don't worry.
Please be. Or one day, one of you will close your eyes and sigh, and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
This feels like a positive interpretation of the conversation you have with Sovereign in Mass Effect. Kim, am I having a violent epileptic seizure?
It doesn't look like that, no.
What does it look like?
You're just staring at it.
And I think I'm having a vision about the final fate of mankind.
Okay. Is it somehow related to the case?
The case is meaningless compared to this. No, I told you what it's about, our fate.
I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
Yep, Kim is a man with a very defined, goal-orientated nature. I have to say goodbye now. I have no more thoughts. That was all.
No, there is one more.
Of all the creatures I've met, you're the most beautiful.
Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class.
I will try.
She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
You know what? There isn't. What about the end of Call of Cthulhu? Base stick insect? Yep. Fuzzy knows what. Fuzzy has our best interests at heart. I'm going to disengage slowly.
As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface.
Away!
And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone.
The lieutenant looks north with his hand raised to his brow. Right, I need to grab a snack, so I'm going to leave you with Chatling while I go and grab a snack. I'll be back in a couple of moments. Spoil the Chatling rotten. You know you want to, chat. You know that's why I gave them to you. What's the challenge option? There it is. Have fun, play a game, and I'll be back in a moment or two. Look at you all spoiling the chatling. I did notice that in the extension kind of page on Twitch, there was a like what we're working on now for it. And one of them was a Valentine's theme, and I was like, that's a bit late. It can walk on water?
Apparently, yes. Like a water strider.
He
Only
shakes his head with amazement.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What's that in the reeds?
Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
What now?
The old man behind you repeats suddenly. He's put his hand into the ash. It's dirty and black.
In some kind of strange, semi-catatonic state.
Yeah, the pheromone that's been messing with his brain for the past 40 plus years is gone.
Our suspect is not
Oh,
looking
Alamone,
so
sorry.
good. We need to check on him.
Phasmid's gone. Check up on the deserter now. There's the helmet. And there's this rifle scope. If only I had managed to get the boots. I would have got an achievement there for getting all 3 armor pieces. Oh well. Let us go check upon the deserter.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
The old man looks around, confused.
Something is very wrong with him now.
Sir, how could you not see the Phasmid?
See.
He stares at the reeds and falls silent.
Mr. Doras?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets. His gap-toothed mouth shaking, like an addict of some terrible substance.
Touch his shoulder gently.
The plastic cape feels coarse. A light shiver passes the man. Other than that, no reaction. He feels small and frail.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem. Doesn't it, Mr. Doras?
The lieutenant inspects him gently.
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid.
What has happened to this man?
Old age and shock.
He looks at him and then you. Old age and shock, yes.
The appearance of the Phasmid in conjunction with the stress of the arrest. He spent his entire life here. For him to leave would be...
He shakes his head. We found some things in the Phasmid's nest, Mr. Dross.
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should.
Show him the scope.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to it. You lost it, Mr. Dross?
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there. With the help of a magpie Phasmid.
The lieutenant observes the lens sparkle in your hand.
This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. You've gotten all you will out of this poor being.
I'm going to let you rest now, Mr. Dross.
The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal.
Hang tight.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't take too long.
The return. Use the boat to return to mainland. We saw the Phasmid. What a glorious creature she was. I just hope the moments are long enough. Such a great game. Yeah, it's a very good game. Thank you for, again, buying it for me. For gifting it to me, I should say. I'm glad I stuck with it past the initial, this game is super grim. I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it. You know what I like, dude. I like most of the same things you like. Still can't get the idea for a backroom-themed Contagion Chronicle out of my brain. Just shove it on the pile of game concepts that will never get used. I like how the UI is modular and loads in different sections.
The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away,
Oh, I did this
the
last
flock
time.
of on the is the great ghost of the air. Is the
I used to do
far
all of them.
raindrops fall, a silent hiss, a low hum. Air flows out of a pillbox window. A drop of rain fall, a jitter, a sound
There we
impatient
go.
to happen,
That's what that's
but
hinting
not
towards.
yet in this world. You hear some kind of limb fidget. No, it's just your imagination. You can't hear.
Yes?
This is where a lesser man would stop to think about the pain.
I have. Is that why we're stopping?
Okay. That's what all that was hinting about then. It's pretty cool.
The skiff is swaying
Let's
on
return
the
to the
wa-
mainland.
Let's. We are done here.
He says, adjusting his glasses as he looks out over the water.
The skiff rocks gently under your weight as you get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet, but for the sound of conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for you. Two men and a woman stand on the concrete square of a nameless village, looking at a small yellow boat as it draws closer. The sea is calm. You reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Seems like a good place for a manual save. Is it time for a debrief? Is it the boss? He'll be happy I found my gun and my badge. Also my car, I suppose, but that's a different matter.
Look what the tide brought him.
Yep. The man says in a measured tone. Suddenly his expression changes and he tilts his head.
Harry, you're bleeding all over the place. You're half dead.
Oh, quite probably.
Whatever this is, it is completely unimportant compared to what you've just seen.
No one else seems bothered by the bleeding.
Bothered by it. Harry, you look like you need a fucking organ transplant. Oh, fuck it. Let's not get into that.
Who are you people?
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstam. I believe we've met on several occasions.
We have.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean-Vic Quemar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it.
He says, gesturing towards his companions.
Special Consultant Trent Heilerstam, Patrol Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
Hi.
We've come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kisuragi, Precinct 57. We've just come from the island, where our investigation led us.
He points to the sea fort.
The scene is making even him feel as though he has to justify your actions.
We might need your help with something later.
He adds, suddenly regaining his confidence.
As if he recalled that he's in fact a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
It's good to meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuhagi.
She says warmly, flashing the lieutenant the tiniest of smiles.
Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the shitstorm that's about to befall you.
I'm not going to make things worse by talking about the Phasmid. What is this about?
Ari, we want to help you. Trent, I believe this is where you come in?
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
Air quotes around the word neurology.
No, Trent, it's too late. You're part of this shit now.
He turns to you.
What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets.
That's true. How did you know I was here?
The cafeteria manager you fucked over told us where you went.
Damn you, God! I saved his establishment and still he betrays me?
Strange. He didn't mention that. In fact, the establishment didn't look saved at all. There was a giant aerograffito in front of the building. It was on fire.
Yeah, I lit it on fire. It was a poetic gesture.
I knew it. Didn't I tell you, Trent? I told you it was our shit, kid.
The line is from Lu Jiatun's Mirova 82, isn't it? About girl-child communism, the titular returning character to ghost the apparition of... Good choice, Harry.
He looks around and, noticing the impatience of his companion, stops himself.
Don't encourage him, Trant.
Hey, I didn't do it. I just lit it on fire.
Okay.
Have you been spying on me?
Yes, I was spying on you. I was in the bar, wearing away against stupid sunglasses. You didn't recognize me. Your own partner walked right past me.
A disguise? Why?
I heard you lost your mind and your memory. I wanted to see if it was true. And it is, Harry. You're totally insane now. Good job.
Thank you. I
In the
tried.
crowd, there was a man and a woman in RCM uniform. In his defense, we were in a hurry.
He says to you, then turns to Vikmar. So, Trant Heidelstam turns out to be Special Consultant Trant Heidelstam.
Yes, I'm Trant Heidelstam. I never said I wasn't Trant Heidelstam.
Wait, what was up with the kid then?
Mikael? Mikael's my son.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No problem.
So what are you special consulting here?
What indeed? I was asked to share my take on some of the more obscure theories developed in Königstein in the 30s. Like partial psychotraumatic amnesia, group personality theory.
He's here to see if you're insane. He is smart. Let's move on.
You mentioned a task force.
Yeah, Major Crimes Unit, under Lieutenant Dubois and Vicomar. Ring any bells?
Refresh my memory, who else is in this?
Refresh your memory? It's a goddamn Major Crimes Unit. There's you, me, Jude, Trant fucking Heidelstam, and Guillaume Baby.
He stares at you.
I'm technically just a civilian advisor.
Oh, fuck you. You're part of this shit show.
Okay, so what does the unit do?
Do? It's a Major Crimes Unit. We clear the desk of cases so Precinct 41 doesn't look like the worst station in town. We are shit tier now, Harry. Because of you.
The 41st isn't...
He trails off, not wishing to finish the sentence. Where have you been all this time? There was a mercenary tribunal.
God damn it, Harry.
He shifts his weight, crosses his arms, and looks you in the eye.
You told us to fuck off. You said we're cramping your style. Your detective god. Fuck everything. All we burn. Detect or die.
Why didn't you detect or die then? Wait, so you let me face a squad of trained killers alone just to teach me a lesson?
It wasn't like that.
Fuck you, Harry. We didn't know there was gonna be a tribunal, did we?
I said all those things? I'm not like that anymore.
Yes. You're sorry. You're the sorriest cop who ever lived. Nothing has changed, Harry. I've heard this repentance shit a million times over.
None of this is ringing any bells.
The bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage. Trant, this is where you come in. How bad is it?
Well, he doesn't have visible tremors, he talks without slurring, he can drive a boat, he's standing, reasoning. All good signs,
Bleeding
but
heavily.
complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic.
Meaning, you forgot both who you are and the definitions of money, Isola, pal, and so on.
As displayed in the station call, our interactions with him, and I don't want to be a snitch, but also mine with him before when Harry did not seem to know who I was. It's all very interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and why not socioeconomically?
I drank so much I lost my memory and now I'm slowly recovering it.
He is. He's getting better. And I can confirm that he drank a lot of alcohol prior to it happening.
So much alcohol.
I believe he drank. People do that, especially this one. What they don't do is forget their whole life because of drinking.
But Detective Vigmer, he has blanked out before.
I have?
Yes, a couple of times. After some of the more serious benders.
She pauses, remembering.
One was after the two drunks case, the other when we looked into that mural.
Interesting. So at first he dipped his toes into it, prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea, yes. Practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Well, here's my theory. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What if this is not a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect? Look at the sensory input here.
He gestures towards the scenery. It's nothing at all to do with the fact that there's a 2mm hole into the pale in the church that I spent a lot of time underneath.
Look at the ruins, the neon. Listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years. As a police detective, he's like a magnetic reader on the world tape, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input. Hardwired to the free market. He just needed for it to end.
He nods confidently.
Okay, Trent, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless.
Mood.
I'm glad we brought you. Will he or will he not be able to work in the major crimes unit? Is he a crétin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
Leadership. Now.
I'm ready to lead again.
No one even mentioned that. I misphrased my question. It should have been, is he able to put his clothes on and use the party? Or do we need to get him on a disability pension?
What now?
Now nothing. Now we're just going to stand here.
Really?
No. Now we discuss that. What the fuck did you do to a motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry?
Ah! Yes. That. I drove it into the ocean while I was drunk.
Ah, so refreshing. He just admits it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of everyone's payslip.
You know, with a partner like Jean-Vic Meyer, I'm starting to understand why Harry went on such a bender that he completely lost all memory of who he was.
It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
Got my badge right here.
In a rush to demonstrate your badge, your eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic, and the badge slips out of your hand.
You're proficient in catching smut objects. John is a dick, but he's kind. He is, but he's also a dick. Right, snake eyes, don't do me now. Much better. I caught it. We're all good.
Not today, badge.
The drama isn't necessary. I got the badge all as well.
And your gun?
He asks, unimpressed by the piece of plastic in your hand. I feel you may be fired soon. Maybe.
As if having your badge and gun are natural states, not achievements. Here we go again. Lost gun, trying to terrorize you.
My gun is right here.
He has it. And he didn't drop it. You're drunk like a bum, Harry. Put that thing away before you kill someone.
He wipes his brow in mock relief. I haven't had a drink in 7 days, Jean. I've been very careful. I'm not drunk. I haven't started drinking again.
So you forgot to drink? I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then?
He's wounded. It's been a long week, and he's handled an actual corpse.
No idea what you're smelling. I wish death off me.
The man doesn't reply, but his expression speaks for him. You should have done a better job, is what it's saying.
Wait, it may be because of the pheromone.
Detective, please. Don't start talking about your pheromone again. This is serious. If you don't...
She doesn't finish the sentence. Bunny Couture, you do raise a good point. If Jean has been dealing with Harry's mess for years, a certain jaded personality would be expected.
Then you'll be fired. This is a hearing. Toughen up.
Yeah, I've handled an actual corpse.
I don't believe you. You're drunk. You let a suspect escape, a certain classier, because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the reports, Harry. Lieutenant Kitsuhagi's. We know.
Not taking her in was the right thing to do. She gave a vital clue that led us to the island.
Oh well, if she was nice. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect, who also escaped. Yeah, Ruby something. Or the fact that you very likely sold your gun for booze. That's peanuts. That's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote.
I got it back.
Compared to the 7 people who were gunned down. The streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired and vetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals. He did so at considerable risk to his person. Remember, he was shot. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been.
Remember, I got shot, puts finger in bullet hole. I also solved the case. It's solved. All of it.
Detective, it's better if I do that.
It's so much better if he does this. 1,000,000 times better.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation.
He brushes a stray strand of hair out of his eye and coughs.
He thinks of apologizing, but decides against it.
You've spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
On the case?
No. Okay.
On Lieutenant Yefretor Dubois.
Double, Yefretor, s'il vous plaît.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true. Although he has not been drinking on the job this week.
See?
1 week.
Then there's the self-flagellation issue. He likes to apologize, profusely.
I do.
Making it sound like he's guilty
sorry,
of
cop.
at least first-degree murder. It's not a good communication strategy for an officer. It's worrying, especially considering his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a Mazovian socio-economist. He wants to liquidate the ruling class, which, again, for a police officer, is a little odd.
I don't know when I got the third honor point, but yes, third honor point! Also, yes, I'm sorry, cop, and I'm a communist. What of it? I'm sorry I'm a communist, I guess.
You should yell something.
No, that's not a good idea.
Yes, let's let the big boys talk.
That's not a good idea, rhetoric.
Other still, he is also an ultra-liberal hustler who is always on the grind. How he reconciles these 2 points of view, I do not know. But he is vocal about both of them.
Okay.
And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, something I was not present for. But despite all this, he is a great detective. One of the best I have seen, in fact.
Thank you for tearing me down, Kim, before you start building me back up. It's like I'm a whole new cop.
He can talk human beings into telling him everything. And he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He is tireless, madly driven.
I didn't even go on a date.
Well, except that one time when he stopped to sing karaoke, which by the way was a valiant effort. He really sang his heart out.
Refurb the police.
Yeah, it was what it was.
Other than that one time, he has tirelessly worked on the case, and he solved it. We have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator, locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a straggler who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
A new species?
Yes, I did.
A colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid.
He takes out the photo of the phasmid and shows it to the officers across the yard. The wind blows, flapping the glossy rectangle in his hand. You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
Gasp!
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
Boom shakalaka, motherfucker. What? So as you can see, I'm a pretty okay detective. An absolute giant cop. I'm not going to say nothing.
Fucking hell is that? Is this somehow connected to the case?
The man cranes his neck, still looking at the photo. Well, technically.
The killer did not seem to be aware of the phasmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic.
Yes, the phasmid may have contributed to his mental state in some way over the years.
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
He points to the photo.
Yes, it really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
His tired eyes follow the photo as the lieutenant puts it away.
This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
Also started a nightclub in the church. The Phasmid was female, reached its nest. The killer, Lilianovich Drost, we have a strong motive for him. The previous head of the Debardeurs Union was assassinated by our killer. And also I fixed the strike situation. There was a dead man on the boardwalk. A missing person I found. So what do you say? Want to take this hot shit back? Let's go with... Let's just go with the motive.
Lilianovich. A revolutionary matronym.
Revolutionary matronym?
The custom started in Grad, where they have patronyms. Krasovich, Lasovich, etc. The revolutionaries saw this as a chauvinist atavism, so they used matronyms, derived from the mother's name instead.
Huh?
This man's mother was Lilian. His Lilian's son, Lilianovich. The custom was overturned after the revolution failed, but not before it made it to Revachol.
So, it is what a soldier of the ICM would be called.
Thank you, Trant. Thank you for that piece of cultural
He
theory.
turns to you.
You said you have a motive?
Of course, excuse me, I just thought it was noteworthy.
Killed the mercenary in an act of jealousy.
Jealousy? I thought this Lilianovich was an old man. To have been hiding for 50 years. Like 70-something.
A strange psychosexual fascination. The result of spending all this time in solitude on the islands of this bay. And trauma too. He himself gave a political reason. In his mind, he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have ballistics from the gun, matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
That's us.
It's a clean win.
It's way more than that.
Still not completely satisfied with it. Could be just a little neater.
Get over yourself. You're not a perfectionist. You're a cop and you did a good job, with a lot of help from Lieutenant Kitsuragi. And none of this can hide the smell of booze on the wind.
He buttons his jacket.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there. Like in your bones or something. It will pass. In time.
Previous head of the Debardeurs Union was assassinated by our killer.
This is a conversation for when we are no longer out in the open. In Martinez, where Evrard and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere.
The lieutenant lowers his voice just a little.
And eyes, too. Your return from the island must not have gone unnoticed.
Understood, of course.
But a case against Everard would be big.
It would.
I would prefer not to partake in anything union-related, for political neutrality.
The consultant, too, has lowered his voice. Right, I'm going to leave it there, I think. Oh, missing person.
Yes. Fallen through a gap in a boardwalk. Drunk.
How did you know I found him?
The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, detective.
Merci, Judy. Judy?
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
We're going to leave it there. So what do you say? Want to take this hot shit back? Point to yourself.
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder.
He shrugs.
So I have to. Jude?
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
A quick nod.
Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
Okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
Now you will finally get to know who you are.
Wait, I have a few questions before we go about who I am.
The man looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Who am I?
Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry.
What?
Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but...
But before?
Before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe...
That does explain a lot.
Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair.
The facial hair! The collection of found sportswear I've amassed.
Your moves on the church floor, which honestly was just jump aerobics. Your use of the word graffito.
God, even this javelin-throwing freak here.
When was this? When was I a gym teacher?
In your 20s or late 20s. You've really let yourself go since then.
He looks you over. You said in Quran I was a gym teacher there?
Yes, you taught gym in Cool. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher.
The smell of sweat and glue. The worn floorboards.
High school. Harry, your goings-on with Kuno, Andre, Acel, the whole thing on the ice. That's why you are so juvie.
His smirk suggests barely contained laughter.
Why did I join the RCM then?
The regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that.
You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope.
Okay, I see now.
I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher.
I like that they felt the need to justify the fact that you run the entire game, or you can run through the entire game. If you walk, does this conversation happen the same way? Because that'll be a bit weird. Why am I like this?
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk.
You really went with it too. Really maximized the damage.
Some chick? Who?
Dora something. Dora England. Yeah, you mentioned the name.
Not Dora Dubois.
Wait, Dora England?
Something like that. Half Vazan.
So we weren't even married.
No one is married anymore. This is Revachol.
When was this?
God, I don't know. 6 years ago? She was way before my time.
6 years?
Yeah. Or 7. You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dora England really tore you a new one. A big one.
Who was she?
Incredibly bangable.
Huh?
She was extremely fuckable, Harry. Gorgeous. A gorgeous bourgeois woman. Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically.
An elf.
Heartbreak Welkin. Pain Welkin.
I've only seen a picture, but it's obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from.
Look, the sun is about to go down. It's time to go home.
She turns to face the sea.
I think she taught in the Académie des Arts, east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? A forensic psychiatrist? Go talk to that.
Okay.
In other words, he's heard enough about this.
Okay. Am I a dirty cop working for La Puta Madre?
No.
No? Because the suspect seemed to think...
You're too unstable to work for a mob boss. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take you.
Saved by my suicidal tendencies.
I assure you, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit.
He would immediately backpedal out of it.
Precinct 51, what kind of station is it?
Us? We're the bloody murder station, haven't you heard? We're the bad guys. No one likes us.
That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You are just understaffed, and everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station and the district is too big, which is why we need to...
He tilts his head northward.
Get back to it. We left Torson and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good.
Torson and McLean.
Mac the Torso Torson and Chester McLean. They're not fit to run a wing. Believe me. Things are shaky as it is.
And the Sea Wing is...
God. There are 4 wings, Harry. A, B, C, and D. We're in C. It's made of losers and clock punchers. You and I reconceptualized it as a task force. It was a mistake.
You know, I'm kind of glad that I decided to stop when I did the other day, as we're 3 hours into the recording and still going.
There's also a lot of outside help involved, not only me.
He smiles.
Other losers too.
He's anything but a loser. Although he would like to be seen as one. It's cooler that way.
And Price is...
Ptolemy Price? He's the son of the old Price, one of the founders of the RCM.
He's one of the most highly regarded men in the Force. You're lucky.
Somewhere under the curved roof of a former silk factory shaped like a ladybird with 2 chimneys, Police Captain Ptolemy Price sits behind a heavy wooden desk.
Aha.
Resident medic Nix Gottlieb pours him coffee. It's silent in the captain's office.
Whoever they got to do the internal narration, some of the pronunciations.
They speak of change, the city, the tension on the streets. They speak of the events of April and the blood on the streets in May.
Did we recently shoot up a church by any chance?
So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press.
Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear.
What happened? Why did we need to go there?
Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up.
He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast. Your clearance will not go up while you're within earshot of the Union headquarters.
So I work in the bloody murder station.
Okay, it's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. A lot of good people work there, hard, every day.
Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Rivershoal. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us.
The press will blow over. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it.
He says in a reassuring tone.
Thank you again, Lieutenant.
The Phasmid. I need to tell Lena about this ASAP.
Who is Lena?
A cryptozoologist. She lives in Jamrock. She told me about this Phasmid.
Well, good luck finding her once we get back.
Thank you, Jean.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the Phasmid. It's their discovery, in part.
He turns to you.
I'm sure we'll find them. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change.
She is going to be over the moon.
Lieutenant Kisaragi, what will you do now?
Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all these. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain.
About what?
Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol.
He pulls up his collar and looks around. The cold spring light reflected in the lenses of his glasses.
I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate.
Want to do that at Station 41?
Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of 2 captains with my doom-mongering.
No, I meant investigate. Come work in Precinct 41.
Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
A crooked smile quivers on his lips.
Would fit in. Am crazy enough. Can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
The lieutenant turns very serious all of a sudden.
And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
She says with a smile.
I do like the sound of that.
Got an achievement, recruit Detective Kim Kitsuragi.
He's really considering it.
I'm ready.
Good.
She looks at you, then Vic Mayer.
Fuck it, let's go. Tron brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
The man points down the street.
Under the afternoon sky, the great district hums. A chessboard of wooden houses, 80,000 living souls, and chimney stacks. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41, to Boogie Street, forking into the snow-swept horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Torsen? Yes. McLean? Yes. Heidelstein? No. Vicmair? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nix Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Potomny Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in his office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the people. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minnow? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?
The woman looks north. And end. That door didn't open, he just walked through it. And okay, cool. Thank you, Jean. I appreciate it. Okay, that door didn't open either. Yeah, I just shove Harry through a door. They're all dead. They're ghosts. It's the only conclusion I can reach. Disco Elysium. So, I'll keep the... I'll pull the webcam back on, why not? Top stuff? Top stuff, indeed. I didn't know if there was going to be a cutscene, because sometimes there is it in the games. Really glad I played it. Super heavy game. Thank you to Fat Chance for the gift. That was a short half hour, it was, wasn't it? Thank you again to Fat Chance for the gift. I'm glad I played it. I probably won't be replaying it anytime soon, because it's incredibly heavy and long at, what, this was 36-ish hours? I know I missed a bunch of stuff. Based on the thoughts I didn't unlock. I don't think I missed doing too many tasks, per se, but obviously there's a lot of conversation trees that I could have picked different options in. Be a different kind of cop, that kind of thing. I might replay it in the future on stream, I might not, but that was a lot of fun to play through. If I did replay it again, I would probably have a goal in mind for the kind of cop to be. The cryptid was the most important aspect of the game, though. You're not wrong with Stebadeus. You are absolutely not wrong there. I'd also, if I did play this again, I'd also look into how to unlock the tasks that I didn't do, because they weren't provided for me to do. I assume that you can do a certain conversation path to discover more about Classia and find her documents on the coast, because I found that thing that was like, hey, you could look here if you had a reason to look here. I can't wait for the credits to be the copyright claim on YouTube, by the way. They usually are in games. British Sea Power. What a band name. But I hope you all enjoyed. Obviously, text-heavy games I don't play too often on stream because of the text heaviness of them. But we are obviously going to go from this to Dream Daddy, which is a visual novel / dating sim, so not a text-heavy game. But hopefully that won't be too bad. I'm just trying to figure out now. So I did download a couple of really short Fritter is spelled incorrectly in the credits. There should be 3 T's. They didn't think we notice, but we did. I did download a couple of really short horror games from Itch, but it depends on when the credits finish. I might just end the stream. Since it's not heavy, it'll be a very different experience. So, oh yeah, it's obviously a much lighter game in tone. It's just, well, it's more reading. I made myself a bit dizzy on Monday when I streamed it last. I should have been paying attention. I didn't see who voiced Kuno. Props to the voice cast, a phenomenal amount of work and quality work at that. It was, yes. Am I streaming tomorrow? We can talk about it if you want to, babe. If I do, it'll be Dream Daddy. Who voiced the Kuno? I forgot to check. Oh no. But yeah, the voice acting in this was by and large pretty good. Not sold on the internal narration sometimes. Was I planning on? I hadn't really decided. I was going to talk to you about it later. Obviously, it keeps my hours up if I do, but I don't have to. Particularly. Very hard to exploit handicapped person. I didn't even meet them. I mean, I want to watch Dream Daddy, so I'm cool with it. I guess I'll be streaming some Dream Daddy tomorrow then. Kuno's different in the pre-Final Cut version? What, as in different actor or different writing? Oh, Dot Major voices Kuno. Thank you, Bunny Couture. And obviously, if anyone was here specifically for the different voice actor entirely, that's fair. If anyone was specifically here just for Disco Elysium, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. And if you want to unfollow, there's totally no hard feelings. Obviously, I'd like it if you stayed following and came for all the games. But if you're just here for Disco Elysium, that's totally fine. I understand. Twitch is a huge place, and finding the games you want to play is not. Finding the games you want to watch is not always the easiest thing to do. Proofreaders, well, you could have done a slightly better job in some places. Right, that's all probably Spanish. Never mind. Same actor, a different performance, which is super interesting. That is interesting, actually. Were they actually a Scouser? Or were they just impersonating one? Please, fat thumbs work on the touchscreen keypad of my phone. Keyboard, sorry. Dominic Major. Without going to a specific page. Really? The band that he's a part of is from the same town I grew up in? Wonderful. Got nothing to talk about really while the credits are rolling. I've given my piece. It's a heavy game. Some places it felt a bit too long. Like some conversation trees went on too long. But her voice is Titus. Reminds you of how everyone sounds in the Midlands where I'm from. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm from the East Midlands in the UK, and I live in Liverpool, and hearing Kuno's accent was a bit of a shock. Oh, Dot Major's from Northampton, so I don't know why they used the Scouser accent. Titus does have a cool voice, though. Unless it's a different Dot Major, of course. Which is possible. Happy Elf Total Victory. What a name. Still not a fan of the limbic system voice. I'll come out and say that right now. That was a horrible voice. Ancient Reptilian Brain, not much better. Stress Relief Ziggy, brackets, dog, brackets. I'm a Ziggy stan. I'm here for Ziggy. Chris Avalone, I know that name. Never read it Larian, okay. Just name your influences there. Mix system's great. Might be great. It's still a horrible voice. In Exile and Obsidian. UK games industry Slack channel. Interesting. Confers exactly the sort of grating feeling a nervous system would have. It does. It's just horrible. I hate it. It's the ultimate thanks I hate it. Well, it's not, because that's actually a picture of the Slanesh symbol that I saw on Twitter the other day, but still. That was a bit abrupt. I was enjoying that. Back to the main menu, I assume. Yep. And there we go. That was Disco Elysium. There's no post-credits. So, YouTube audience, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you watched this far and are looking for like final summation of my thoughts on the game, it's good. It's very heavy in places, so obviously bear that in mind. Some of the conversations and sections do feel like they go on a bit too long, but you know, it is what it is. It's a dialogue-heavy game. Yeah, I'd say play it yourself if you get the chance to and don't mind knowing what happens in broad strokes. I did check the achievement list actually, because I'm always curious about what achievements are for games like this, and you can solve the entire case without touching the dead body, and prove that you are a master detective at the end to Jean and the hearing, which is pretty cool if you think about it. I do like it when games like this give you multiple ways of solving problems. Obviously, I've mentioned that a couple of times, but I think that's kind of the ultimate thing. When he talks to you, I think it's when he mentions that you smell like death. You can say, but I didn't even touch the corpse. I'm that good of a detective, which is pretty neat. Anyway, YouTube, please pet your pets. Tell them they're good pets. Tell them I love them because I love all animals. And to you and your loved ones, please do stay safe, healthy, wholesome. Have a good one.